Hey folks, I just wanted to create another video for reference for you, and this one is centered a little bit around repertoire selection. So how do we select the songs or the rhymes that we select to teach what it is that we want to teach? This tends to be a little easier for us when we're dealing with large ensemble because we're used to reading that music and we're used to thinking about it in the context of, oh, well, this has a rhythmic pattern that I want to teach, or this can teach flexibility in the voice, or this uses a scale that I want the kids to become more familiar with, in bandland or stringland. But sometimes when it comes back to elementary music, we're like, I don't know, we just sing some songs. And it's been a long time since most of you have been in elementary music, so you might be thinking, I have no idea why we sang that song. And that is good and bad. I mean, it's great that you may have had some memories where elementary music was fun and you were learning without knowing that you were learning. And that's kind of what we hope for. But, the music teacher should be strategically choosing those materials in a way that's like, oh, here's what I really want you kids to learn when we sing this song. So one of these songs here, this song is called Barges. And if you were in Girl Scouts, I think this is a Girl Scout song. Some of you might be familiar with it, maybe not. But I'm just going to whistle it here for you. So that's how the little melody of it goes. And right now already I'm kind of thinking of three things that I might want to teach with this. One thing I think that would be really great to teach with it is the idea of an almost complete scale, right? We've got do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re. That has an almost complete scale descending, and that would be something that shows up twice. And it's something that I think the students would be able to hang on to really quickly because it doesn't sound like the other stuff. One of the other things that popped out to me was form, because you've got an A B B form. So you've got two lines that are exactly alike and then two lines that are exactly alike. The other thing, if we're talking about just a pitch type of thing, would be do ti do, because every line ends with do ti do. And that might be something that they would, take notice of because it's the only time that happens. It always happens in the last measure of each line. And one of the things that we do in Kodai training, yay, that's great. You don't have to be Kodai trained. This is something that I've done and I've found it useful. One of the things that we do in Kodai training is we say, hey, what are the tones that are used here, and what is the center tone, the home tone of it? What scale would be used? What's the form? We could put in AABB. What other things might we have here that are interesting? And then what would I use it for as far as rhythm goes, as far as melody goes? Is there a game to play that goes along with it? And then any other pedagogical things. So rhythmically, I'm like, meh. By the time I would have my students singing this, I would think they should know all of these rhythms pretty much. But for the melody, having that descending scale and then the do ti do turn, that's something that I would love to teach with that. And I think it's good for AABB form. So when we look at a piece of music, that's kind of what we're looking for, is what's the purpose of this? Why am I teaching this? Let's go ahead and look at another one. This is for slightly younger kids. I wouldn't use this as much in, I don't know, past about second grade because they'll start to think of it as maybe a baby song. But this is Button You Must Wander. like this one for AABA form, although some people would argue and say, look, lady, that's an A prime, B, A prime. Okay, we could argue about it, and that would be fine, and I would agree with you. But for little kids, I might be like, meh, yeah, we've got 3 lines that are just about the same, and then 1 that is very different from the other ones. So the idea of same and different with younger students, this might be a great one. And it does have this little pattern all the time. That'd be a rhythmic, or not a rhythmic pattern, a melodic pattern that I might want them to practice, although I might not draw attention to it. This one for me is definitely about form. It's something that I would want them to get the idea of. So, I would put all this information about the tone set, the scale, what the form is, AABA, or A prime, B, A prime, but that's mostly what I want to use it for. One of the other reasons I would use it, I use this as a passing game, teaching them how to pass on the beat. And so they have to know it really well by the time they're ready to pass the button around the circle. And so they can usually pick out that this line is different. Okay, let's take a look at one other one. Tideo. One of my favorite songs and games. One of the things I'm going to be teaching with this, it's a rhythm thing for me more than anything. And it is all about ticka ticka or takadimi or one-ianda, whatever it is, 16th notes, because they're easily isolatable. They happen in a similar pattern, which occurs in the same place over and over, but the whole rest of the song isn't full of confusing, mixed 16th note, 8th note patterns. It's just 16th note, and it's always on Jingletta. So that's a reason why I'm definitely going to teach this song. It's one of my 16th note songs. I love it, and the kids love to play the game that's associated with it. So it ends up being a win-win. Now that's one of the things kids always say, oh, we love Tideo, and sometimes they don't know why they're learning the song until I'm like, hey, let's, pull this apart a little bit. Sing me the song. Let's look at the words of it. How many sounds are occurring on, this heartbeat? And they might say, oh, it's 4. That's different than every other place. It only ever happens here. So it's a place where I want them to kind of discover that there's something different or new. But it also happens to be sandwiched in a game and a song that they like to sing and play. So just a little bit about repertoire selection. Every song that we put in front of them usually has some kind of purpose pedagogically. And so just a few examples for you. Again, if you ever have any questions, you're like, is this a good song for 8th note? Is this a good song for quarter note, quarter rest? Teaching anacrusis, whatever it is, you can always ask. That's what I'm here for. So I hope you have a great rest of the day.